Today we are going to talk about all of the makeup that I personally regret buying in the year of 2022. So normally I would call this video the worst makeup of 2022, but honestly, this is just my opinion. It's not necessarily that this is the worst makeup, because I know for a fact there are a lot of products that I'm going to talk about that so many people and so many of you absolutely love, but for me, it might have been the worst product. So really, this is just products that I really regret purchasing because they, well, for one reason or another. It's not even necessarily just that they didn't work out for me. So yeah, hopefully this sounds interesting to you. Let's go ahead and get into the video. Before we do, let's go ahead and do the YouTubey things. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get into it. We're going to start actually with the products that I have given away already, or like decluttered from my collection already, and they're just a couple of brands. I actually have one of the products from the brands because I haven't given this away yet, but I've given most of this brand's products away, and it is LYS Beauty. Now, I tried LYS Beauty at the very start of the year, and I did a video reviewing LYS Beauty and also comparing it to a lot of the high-end luxury dupes that I had been seeing. So I compared the LYS powder to the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless powder, the LYS bronzer to the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, and there are a couple of other products in there. And there were some products from the LYS brand that I really enjoyed, like the cream blush and the highlighter, the powder highlighter. I thought they were super beautiful, lovely, high quality products. I really liked their foundation brush, and overall with the brand, I really admire the brand. I think it's a wonderful brand. But some of their products just really didn't vibe with me. And again, I say that these are makeup regrets for me just because honestly, these are really popular products with a lot of people. So it's just that they really didn't work for me. One of the first products, and this is the product that I still have in my collection to give away, is the LYS Secure Skin Gripping Serum Primer with 5% niacinamide and AHA. So the gripping primer here. Anytime I use this primer, no matter what foundation it is under, whether it's under a foundation that maybe doesn't work for me or a foundation that is like a holy grail, without fail will always look good on me, it makes my foundation look terrible. It just makes my foundation look terrible. It breaks my foundation up quicker throughout the day, makes my skin really textured. I just cannot, like, anytime I've used this primer, I've had the most horrific makeup day, and it sounds dramatic, but it's noticeable. Like, it's really noticeable, and it's absolutely this primer, because I have used it under like my Oma Beauty foundation, for example, which is what I'm wearing today, and always looks flawless on me. And yeah, even when I use it with this, it's a flat out hard pass for me. Leaning into that is also the foundation. Now the foundation goes on really nice. So I'll put a picture of it here. The foundation goes on super nice. Like, my first initial impressions of the foundation is this is super lovely, lightweight on the skin. It's actually quite smoothing. I really enjoy it. And then very quickly, within the first hour, that foundation starts settling into fine lines. It shows fine lines on my face I didn't even know I had. It starts settling into texture. It starts getting oily. But the biggest thing that I can't handle with that foundation is after about 2.5 hours, it's just gone off my face. It just completely wears away, and it's like, did I even put foundation on today? Where is it? It's just gone. So yeah, that foundation is a hard no from me as well. The powder, the LYS powder, you can go and see the video that I did with that dupe comparison. It is not a Charlotte Tilbury dupe for me and my skin type. You can visibly see it in the video. That powder did not smooth. That powder did nothing, like actually nothing for my skin whatsoever. It definitely doesn't smooth. It doesn't even set my makeup. Like, whatever foundation I used it with, it still broke the foundation up. It made my foundation, I feel like, wear away quicker no matter the foundation. Like, it didn't set my face, nothing. It just really didn't vibe with my skin at all. One of the worst powders, probably not the worst, but one of the worst powders I have ever put on my face for me and my skin. And then the bronzer. The bronzer was okay, but it was just okay. I found it a little bit patchy and hard to work with. Like, I found I kind of needed to really pay attention when I was putting it on, whereas I have other bronzers in my collection where I can just like put them on with my eyes closed and they look good. So the bronzer wasn't, definitely not the worst product I tried from the brand, but it just wasn't for me. So we definitely decluttered that one quite quickly too. The other brand that I have, I actually don't think I could have decluttered these products quick enough personally. And it's a shame because, again, super love this brand and admire like really admire the person behind this brand, and it's the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Primer and the Yummy Skin foundation, like the serum foundation. Again, I have a review of that on my channel. Yeah, they really didn't work for me. They really did not work for me. The primer somehow dried my skin out. So whatever ingredients are in that primer, like, it does the opposite of what it's supposed to for my particular skin type. Plus it had so much fragrance in it, which isn't a big deal, but look, first of all, I'll put my hand up and say I stupidly bought the product without in-depth reading the ingredients list. Had I read the ingredients list, I would have seen fragrance in there and I would never have picked the product up. But she really made a big deal about advertising this particular primer towards sensitive skin and it being really suited to sensitive skin, which a lot of, not all, but a lot of sensitive skin is sensitive to fragrance. So that really baffled me. And so it gave me cystic acne 100% because it's a heavy fragrance within that product. But the product itself, taking the fragrance out, just really did not work for me. And the serum foundation was the same. Not the worst, like, it wasn't the worst foundation I'd ever tried. I think the Aweas foundation might have been a little bit worse. It had a little bit of more coverage and wear time to the Yummy Skin foundation, but again, it just settled in fine lines. It made my skin look textured. It just wasn't wowing or smoothing or impressive on my skin at all personally, and it had a real heavy fragrance in it again, so it was just going to consistently break me out, and just overall was just something that I massively regretted purchasing because just did not work for me whatsoever. Next up, let's talk about a foundation that I did technically try last year, but it was at like the very last week of last year, and so I never included it in any like roundups or anything like that. And I tried so hard with this product. I tried so hard, and it's just got to be a no for me. And it's the RCMA foundation. So I do have this in my declutter pile. I've got someone that I know will like this. I tried so hard to like this, but it just doesn't work for me. It's way too matte and texturizing on the skin. It's just not smoothing in any way. It is full coverage, I'll give it that, but it's just an aging formula for me personally. And I know Tarte loves this foundation and she thinks it's like the world's best, but for me it was just a flat out, this does not look good on you. It's just settles, it cakes up, it settles in fine lines, it's texturizing, and and it was so drying, and I have combination skin and it was so drying. So yeah, big fat no for me. Let's talk about the last two foundations that I absolutely regret purchasing, and this one is a really popular one. I wasn't going to buy it because I just had a feeling it probably wouldn't work for me, and I just got FOMO. I got FOMO and I caved and I purchased it and I regret it. So this one isn't like it's the worst makeup product. This is really, I regret buying this and it's really on me. And it's the Ambient Soft Glow foundation from Hourglass. So I know a lot of people love this, and this is okay. Like, I will still get use out of this. You still see it around my YouTube channel and tutorials, and you will continue to. I'm not going to declutter it because it's okay. It's just really not my favorite foundation at all. It's not a foundation that I naturally want to reach for. It's a foundation that I'll probably only use, to be honest, on days where I'm just filming YouTube videos and not actually leaving the house, because it's just a little bit too drying for my skin type. It's not texturizing, but it's also not smoothing. It kind of applies a little bit weird to my skin. It just doesn't make me look as good as I personally think I can look wearing a foundation. You know what I mean? I have some holy grails in my collection and it's just not one of them. And I just absolutely would not repurchase it. I don't think it's worth the money personally, but that's just, you know, that's my humble opinion. I really regret buying that one. I also regret buying this one. This one I did think would work for me. I really, just from the name of it, to be honest with you, I really wanted this one, but we don't vibe. We just don't vibe. It's the One Size Turn Up the Base Triple B Cream Beauty Blur Cream. Honestly, as soon as it had the word blur in the title, I'm such a sucker for it. I'm a sucker for marketing, you guys. As soon as it said blur, I was like, yeah, okay, it's gonna blur, let's do this. But it's this weird kind of moussey texture of a foundation, and so I don't personally find it to blur. I don't find it to apply smoothly. I find it to be texturizing. I find it to just cling to weird parts of my skin, and I don't have dry skin. And it just doesn't wear nicely. Like, after about 3 hours of wearing it, I look a little bit haggard. And I just have other foundations that absolutely don't do that to me. So yeah, this one was a firm no, and I was going to keep it around in my collection because I wanted to get my money's worth, right? Like, I pay for it with my own money, but I think I'm going to have to declutter it because I just genuinely don't want to reach for it. Like this one I'll keep around because I will use it and it's fine. But this one I'm like, I really don't want to put you on because I know it's not going to look good, you know? Another primer that I really regret purchasing is also the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Primer. I also picked this up because so many people were raving about this. Babs Beauty loves this. Pretty sure it's Babs Beauty that loves this. And I just really wanted to give it a go just from the rave reviews, and I just don't find it does anything for me personally. Again, it's not a bad product, and I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that really would love this. It's not necessarily a bad product. It's just it's not a great product for me, and I really regret buying it because I kind of, again, thought that it probably wouldn't do what I don't even know what I was thinking it was gonna do, because I just don't find it does anything for me. That's the thing. I just find it adds a cream, but like it's not necessarily super hydrating. I don't find it very blurring. I just don't actually know what this does for me and my skin type. So yeah, it's expensive and I regret it. Shall we talk about all of the concealers that I regret buying this year? So I kind of went on this like concealer journey at the start of the year. I have really difficult under eyes. Really difficult. They're super dry, they're pigmented, they have dark circles, they've got wrinkles, they're textured, you name it, they suck. I went on this whole concealer journey at the start of the year, and I definitely found some concealers this year that are just like holy grails to me. They've just exceeded my expectations. I love them. But along the way, I really tried some concealers that it was like a flat no. A flat, just get away from me, I don't enjoy you. This one I was so disappointed about. I really thought I was going to like this based off of Hannah Louise Poston's kind of views of this concealer. I just was like, that's it. I wasn't even going to try this brand until she started raving about it. And I was like, I need to try this. Like, I really feel like I'm going to like it. And it's the Rose Ink concealers. So I had two shades because this one is, I think it's LX10. Yeah, LX010, and then this is LX020. So my first complaint is the shade range. It's a really bizarre shade range to me. Just, it's weird to me. But anyway, side note, we'll leave it at that. I just don't like this concealer at all. It's not very full coverage. I don't even really find it to be medium coverage. That could just be a me thing though, because other people seem to find this really full coverage. But it also just makes my under eyes look really old. It breaks up under them. It's not smoothing in any way. So it's not covering what I need it to cover, even if I kind of add it in little layers. It's not long lasting. It's texturizing on my under eyes. It's breaking up. It's just, yeah, it's not a formula for me and my under eyes. I think if you don't have difficult under eyes, you'll probably really enjoy it. But me and my difficult little under eyes, we didn't get along with that one. Next up, I purchased the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. Another one that this is just on me. It's on me. I knew I wasn't going to like this. I knew Radiant Creamy Concealer. I don't know why I knew. Actually, I kind of knew because I know Desi Perkins loves this. And she used to love the Becca Aqua Luminous Concealer, I think it was called. And this was like ages ago when she used to do a lot of beauty YouTube. And I purchased that Becca concealer because Desi is flawless, as we all know. And I was like, I'm going to look flawless like Desi. And I did not. I did not look flawless like Desi. That Becca concealer really made me realize that Desi doesn't have like any imperfections on her under eyes, because that Becca concealer did nothing for me. Anyway, she also loves this concealer, so I was like, I'm probably not gonna like this concealer. Caved, purchased it because curiosity got the better of me, and this concealer is horrific for me. Horrific. I know it's some of yours like absolute holy grail, but for me, I'm like, why? Why? Like, you do nothing for me. There's no coverage. It wears away. It's not smoothing. It makes my under eyes look drier. And just like, there's just not a world where we're friends. There's just not. This one is more like a foundation concealer hybrid. I think some people call it a foundation, some people call it a concealer. I don't even think the brand has a proper name for it. This is the Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer, so I think you can kind of just use it how you want. It's this teeny tiny little pot because it's supposed to be like super, super full coverage. And I haven't used actually that much of it because anytime I have used this, I hate it. I hate it. It's so mattifying and caking up on the skin, whether I use a small amount or just regardless of the amount I use, it doesn't vibe. We don't vibe. We're not friends. We just hate, we really actually strongly dislike each other. And it's just, yeah, my under eyes look really haggard. haggard, proper haggard and textured, and then it starts to break up and they just look like the Sahara Desert. It's not attractive. I don't find it full coverage for me personally, because the amount of product I seem to need to use to get this to be full coverage, by the time I've built it up a little bit, which granted I need to build up all concealers, it's just how my under eyes are, that's fine. But I have concealers that I can really build up to the coverage I need or like, that looks still, in my opinion, really flawless. Whereas this one, by the time I've built it up to what I need / like, it's all over Red Rover. Like, I need to start my makeup again. And then I also tried this as a foundation, and it was one of the worst skin days I've ever had in my life. So it was a firm no for that. But this one I think actually takes the cake, and I think I'd rather actually use all previous concealers that I've just talked about if I could just not use this one ever again. And again, I know a lot of people love this, but my lordy, this is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Concealer. I really dislike this. Again, I have a review of this, and in the review, it's 4K footage. I don't use filters or anything like that on my video. I think that's pretty obvious to see. And you can actually see from when I've put this on at the start of the video to by the time I finished filming it, it had already broken up. Like, it had already broken up. It was, yeah, it's not a good concealer. I've also tried it since then. I've tried it with different color correctors. I've tried different concealer combinations, because sometimes I can really make a concealer work for me if I find like its perfect little partner and together they seem to work really well. She doesn't have a friend in my collection. She really doesn't. It's really, it's one of the worst concealers I personally ever tried, and I never want it near me again. Shall we talk about powders? This one right here, Laura Mercier Secret Blurring Powder. So this is the pressed one, not the loose one. I love the loose one. This is the pressed one. I picked this up again, very start of the year. I've got a review of it. I was like, yeah, concealer journey. It kind of reminds me of the Pat McGrath Labs Sublime Under Eye Perfecting Powder, which I love. Like, you know, it's got blurring in the title, what's not to love? And immediately when I kind of when I very first tried this, like my first impressions of it, I dusted it on and it looked really nice. And I was like, is this the one? Is this the powder? And then after about an hour or two, my under eyes had completely broken up, and like all of the concealer and everything had disappeared, and it just looked horrific, like horrific. And I couldn't figure it out. It took me quite a few weeks to figure out it was this powder. This powder is horrible, like horrible. It does not set your under eyes in any way. I don't personally find it to blur in any way. All it seems to do is kind of like for 3 seconds, kind of maybe set your under eyes, and then just slowly start to eat up all of the concealer that you've applied underneath it, to the point where it's just like gone in the matter of hours. It's a firm no. Another pretty firm no, and this one I actually really desperately wanted to work. This is the Wayne Goss Weightless Powder. So just his loose translucent powder that he released this year with his foundation. I wanted to like this so bad, but I just don't. The only time I've seen to semi-like this is dead in the middle of winter for us here in Australia, and my skin for some reason this year got really, really dry, which is never done before, and a light dusting of this seemed to work. So if you have super dry skin and you just need a very light dusting kiss of powder, then you probably really like this. But most of the time my skin's combinationed and I need to set my face. Like, it needs to be set, otherwise my makeup is going to run down my neck. It's just gonna happen. So I don't like this, because if you actually have to apply some powder for your makeup to have longevity throughout the day, this one, I don't find it to be smoothing or blurring. Like a lot of powders, like the Kosas Cloud Set powder, for example, or even the Laura Mercier translucent powder, you can like set your face with that, and I feel it's like almost applying a filter to your face. I don't feel like this does this. Secondly, depending on the amount of powder you have to apply, but the amount of powder that I personally have to apply to set my face, this leaves a white cast on my skin tone. And I'm like a sheet of paper. So I don't personally see how he can call this like universal, unless you are, again, only using that very soft kiss of powder, which is maybe the only intended use, which is fine. You know, for me, it just doesn't work. This one I actually got as a Christmas present last year, so it's not actually something that I personally went out of my way to pick up, but I wanted to mention it because it's gone super viral this year on TikTok, and I don't get the hype. Maybe I'm not young enough to get the hype, to be fair. This is the Givenchy Prisme Libre powder. I have the shade 5 Satin Blanc. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get the hype. I find this is, again, probably if you're one of those people that just needs a really soft kiss of powder, maybe this is for you, but I find this to be actually too drying for me. I know, which is weird. And I don't find it to really overly smooth my skin or anything like that. I don't know, I just don't, I feel like it feels like putting on almost like baby powder or something on my face. I don't get the hype of this, but I know so many people are like, oh my God, it's so smoothing. I don't find this to be smoothing. Not really, not in comparison to like the Kosas Breezy powder, Cloud Set powder or whatever. I don't. So yeah, I don't get the hype behind this. I would never repurchase this. I don't even think to use this, if I'm honest. Also, it has fragrance in it, but that's neither here nor there. That's just a sensitivity for me. But yeah, I mean, I'll keep it because it was a gift, but I don't get it. I don't get it. Lastly, this powder, I actually would take all of the powders that I have just spoken about, even the Laura Mercier one, over this one. I have not disliked a powder more than I've ever than what I dislike this powder. And this is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush, what's it called? Airbrush Brightening Flawless Finish. I hate this. I hate this so much. So this is this, again, like the white one. I think there was 2 shades of this actually, which is, you know, okay. I find this to be super drying. I don't find it to be smoothing or bright. Like, I didn't really find it to be brightening. No, not really. Not in a nice way anyway. Yeah. It didn't set my under eyes. It broke the concealer up quicker. In fact, in the review where I use this, you can actually see that the side where I use this is like physically breaks up quicker than the other side where I didn't. And it has coconut in it, which I did read the ingredients when I purchased this, and it didn't have coconut in it. But then when I got the box ingredients had coconut in it, so I'm not sure. So when I actually used this on my T-zone, I woke up the next day with a full like allergic rash kind of thing, which happens when I use some coconut ingredients. This is just horrible. I've tried it a few times. I can't make it work. It's absolutely going to get decluttered from my collection. I actually cannot stand this, which is hilarious. Like, I know Teresa is Dead just thinks the world of this powder, which just goes to show how different all of our skin reacts to products. But I hate it. I hate it. In a kind of similar vein to powder, because I'm still not 100% certain what this product is actually supposed to do. And again, this isn't a necessarily like the worst product. I just kind of don't get it and absolutely regret purchasing it. If I had my time over, I would not purchase this ever again. And this is the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Perfector, and I find it really hard to open. There we go. So this is the one. This isn't the cream. What did he call this? This is the Perfector. This isn't the cream enhancer, which is actually just a cream, natural cream bronzer. This is the powder one where it's like a setting powder, a highlighter, and a bronzer. I don't get it. What is it supposed to do? Like, the setting powder is actually just a highlighter pretty much. It really doesn't do much. The highlighter has like chunks of glitter in it. And then there's the bronzer, but like, are you going to use all 3 of these products? Like, I have used it when I want a really, really soft natural look. Sure, I can use it and it looks nice, but like, I have all 3 of these products that I could just use on my own. I didn't need to buy this. I don't know why I bought it. I just didn't know what the product, I felt like the marketing for this product was super confusing. I had no idea what I was buying when I bought this. I'm going to be honest with you. And I just don't think anyone needs this. I mean, I'm not coming for you if you love it. I'm really not, but I don't get it. And I 100% would never buy it again. And I would, if I went back in time, I wouldn't buy it in the first place. I really wouldn't. Shall we talk about some bronzers that I regret buying this year? This bronzer, again, not a terrible product, just not a phenomenal product. And I bought it on the recommendation of Andrea Ali, and I regret doing it because it's not a bronzer that I would have ever picked up had I not like kind of watched her video and got swept up in it, because I just wouldn't have, you know what I mean? And then I got it and I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna get the use it deserves. And it's the Golan Terracotta Bronzer. This is just in the shade 1. This is just the bronzing powder. I think it's like their original kind of one. It's just a bronzer. Like, it's nothing fancy, but it's also nothing high quality in my mind compared to, say, like the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, the Makeup by Mario bronzer, the Victoria Beckham bronzer, the House Labs bronzer. You know, I even have tried drugstore bronzers before that I think are better than this one. It's just an okay bronzer, but nothing overly wowing. It's a little bit dry formula feeling on the skin. It's not smoothing or anything like that. It's just, oh, now I nearly dropped it and broke it. It's just, yeah, it's just not anything wowing. Again, if I could go back in time and just not purchase this, I would. Oh, I did forget to talk about a powder. Sorry, let's go back in time to powders. My mistake for buying this product, how it's come, because I did not realize I was buying a refill of the product, but I did try the Fenty Beauty Invisi Matte powder. So I bought the refill. I thought I was buying the actual compact one. That's fine. You can still keep it in this and try the powder. Hate this. Hate it. Not great. Not a good product whatsoever. This is kind of like how it comes as the refill. It's just a stark white powder and it's supposed to be like mattifying and all that kind of stuff. It just makes my skin look really, really, really dry and textured. That's just how it makes my skin look. And it breaks up like my foundation and my products that I use it on within an hour or two. So yeah, that's a firm no from me. This is another bronzer that I regret buying. I got it in America when I was in Sephora US, which if you're an Australian or probably from anywhere else in the world, really, and you go to America and you go to Sephora US, you just get swept up in the moment, don't you? You get swept up in the moment because it's like a makeup lover's Willy Wonka land. Like that's what it is for us because it has every brand available. It has everything there. It's got all of the new releases and you're just like, give it to me all. Do you know what I mean? You just are. You just are. Well, I was anyway. And I was never planning on picking this up and I just got swept up in the moment because I knew I did not, one, not need this product, but two, probably wouldn't like it. I don't know why, I just knew. This is the One Size bronzer. So this is the Made for shade. And I got the light trio. Why do I need 3 shades of almost the same shade of bronze, first of all? Why do I need that? I don't. I'm the same shade. I could see if you like change skin tones, like if you get really pale and then really tan in the summer kind of thing, I could see maybe that might work for you. I'm the same sheet of paper all year. I might go half a shade to a shade darker in the summer if I manage to leave my house for that summer because I don't really enjoy the sun a whole lot. And if I am a different color, it's purely because I put a tan on, which is just for a special event and it's not that often, I'm not gonna lie, okay? I've even put bronzer on my chest area here today so I didn't look so pale, you know? So this isn't even actually the true representation of my skin tone. I'm whiter than this. So I don't need 3 shades of bronzer like this. That's on me, first of all, that's on me. But I also just don't like this product. It's quite patchy, but it's also really, really pigmented. You just need the softest kiss of powder. And even then, I just find it applies quite patchy. It like clings to certain patches on my skin and I didn't know I have dry patches. I don't think I do. But also I have to pay so close attention to how much I'm applying of this product because even just like a hair too much and it's just like, oh, we've gone too far. We've gone too far. So yeah, I never think to reach for it. I don't want to reach for it. It doesn't bring me joy while I use it. So yeah, I regret that for sure. While we're talking about One Size, let's also touch on the One Size cheek clappers. This is the 3D blush trios. I have the shade Freaky Peach and Very That. And again, this is a little bit on me. I got swept up in the hype of, this one is Very That, by the way. I got swept up in the hype of being at Sephora US and I was like, yeah, I need the blushes. And they're beautiful packaging. Like one of the reasons why I did pick them up is because I'm a sucker for packaging and it's so luxurious and beautiful. But one, I should have only bought one ever. Like I should have only bought one. 2, I should never have picked this up in the first place. I will never ever get any use out of this shimmer shade. It's like a straight up metallic, like proper, like highlighter kind of shade. And it's supposed to be used, I think, as like a blush topper or something, which I'm never gonna put that on my cheeks. I'm never ever gonna do that. That's not how I like to do my blush. So I was always gonna have one shade sitting there doing nothing. Why am I doing that? There's so many other products on the market or even in my own damn collection where I don't need to waste a product. Do you know what I mean? And then these are okay. Like they're okay, but they're also the same as the powder bronzers where they're just overly too pigmented for me. So I have to be really, really mindful on how I apply them. I'm someone who's just naturally a little bit heavy-handed. So I just need products that are a softer pigmentation for me personally. They're just not something that I reach for. I massively regret, especially buying two, but I kind of regret buying one because it's just going to waste, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm going to give these to my friends so that they can get some use out of them, but yeah, it's a regret. It's a regret. Now this one might be a little bit controversial for you guys, and I really want to strongly say here that this isn't because the products within this are bad. They're not. They're actually super, super lovely products, but I regret buying this product so bad, and it is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked Elephant Palette, whatever the name is. Again, the powders in here are lovely. They really are. These blushes are beautiful. This bronzer is beautiful. The highlighter, the powders, everything is beautiful. I just regret buying this so much. One, because I knew I was picking up the wrong shade. I knew it. I knew this was going to be too dark for me. These powders are just too dark. Like, they're too dark for me. They kind of oxidize on my skin a little bit, so I can't use them. The only shades that I can really use, and I can use a bronzer, it's just not the best tone for me, is really the blushes. So what am I doing? What am I doing? I knew this. And I just also, the reason why, apart from like the fact that Hourglass until recently never catered to deeper skin tones was one of the biggest reasons I stopped buying from them, but also the reason why I stopped buying these palettes years ago was because it frustrates me how little these squares are, and that has not changed for me. I'm better off buying like the full size of each one of these products if that's what I really want, because I end up getting like blush on my powder brush, or as I'm trying to get like my puff in there to set, it's like going everywhere else, and it's just, this is not a conducive palette for me personally and how I like to work. So again, this one is nothing on the product itself. It is a beautiful product. It's just I regret purchasing it knowing everything I know about myself, and that one's on me. We don't have too many products left, trust me. We have the light at the end of the tunnel. Another product that I really regret buying, knew I wasn't gonna like. I bought it for the tubes, bought it for review purposes, but I was like, you knew it, you knew it. Victoria Beckham Beauty, the Pearl Reflect Highlighting Stick. I just had a feeling, that I wouldn't like this. And it's beautiful, like look how nice it looks on my hand. And I'm sure I could just like pop it on my collarbone here even, and it would probably, I mean, I don't know how to do the glistening thing. I'm not that kind of an influencer, but you know, I'm sure it's beautiful. And if you like the Westman Atelier lip sticks, you'll really like this product. You really will. Because it's like that kind of Vaseline-y, sticky type highlighter. So if you like that vibe, which I know a lot of people do, it's just not for me. I have a fringe, first of all, with my hair topper. So if you don't know, I suffer from hair loss and wear alternative hair. So like, I don't need a sticky product here. It's just going to get all stuck there. And I just find that this kind of a sticky product kind of breaks up my products underneath. No matter, I've tried applying this with a sponge, a brush, and my fingers. No matter how I apply it, it seems to break up the products underneath for me. And yeah, it's not a great product for me. It's really not. I really don't love it. I went on this cream eyeshadow kick this year. I really wanted to get into cream eyeshadows and start trying some different formulas out. And I picked up 3 of these only because I got 3 for the price of 1. Otherwise I wouldn't have bought 3, I promise you. And this is the Charlotte Tilbury cream eyeshadow. So I have the shade Champagne, Oyster Pearl, and Rose Gold. Oyster Pearl is by far my favorite. And they're lovely shades. Like look at Oyster Pearl. That's a me shade. I love it. It's very pretty. Very pretty. And when I initially put these on, so beautiful. Like so beautiful. But they just crease on me. They don't, unless you set them with a shadow, they don't set down at all. Whereas when I use the like Tom Ford cream eyeshadow duo pots, or the Victoria Beckham cream eyeshadow pots, or the Hourglass cream eyeshadow pots, or the Alice Vars cream eyeshadows, even the Danessa Myricks cream eyeshadows, the RMS cream eyeshadows, you name it, all of the other cream eyeshadow formulas I have in my collection sets down so that on my hooded eyes it doesn't crease or break up, because like it's going to as I blink and rest throughout the day, all that kind of stuff. They all set down and it's fine, and they're really long wearing. Whereas every single time I wear just these, they just kind of crease up and get all gunky and they move around and it's a hot mess. So I have to set them, and that's not the purpose for me personally of why I want a cream eyeshadow. I like to use my cream eyeshadows as just like a quick one and done. So yeah, super regret buying these, and I mean, some people can really like them, but for me, they're not a great product. This is another product that went viral on the TikToks, and again, maybe I don't get it. I obviously don't get it. I don't get the hype behind this product. Maybe I'm too old. I just don't get it. This is the By Mario Master Crystal Reflector in Bronzite. What is the deal? Why did this go viral? What is the deal? Because I picked this up thinking, oh, this must be something super special. Like when you get it, it must be like the how many carats kind of thing on, you know, like the Fenty Beauty one, or it adds this like perfect luminosity over the top of shadows. I don't know if you can see, it's barely there. Like it has the smallest amount of fleck to it. It's nothing. This is nothing on anything. It's nothing. I don't know how well it will show on camera, but it's basically like putting nothing on. I don't get it. I don't know if I got a dud or what, but I don't understand the hype behind this. I mean, sure, there's a little speck there and it's kind of pretty, kind of, but like compared to nearly all of the other shades on the market, I don't get, like, you would honestly do yourself a favor and get the Fenty Beauty How Many Carats products before you buy this, because they really do give you that like extra vavoom to a look if that's what you're looking for, or if you even just want that wet look, kind of sparkly, barely there kind of shadow look, or you know what I mean, right? Get the Fenty Beauty one. I do not understand why this went viral. I do not understand. And again, I'm probably just old and that's fine. All right, we made it to the end. That is all of the makeup products that I personally regret buying for this year, whether or not it's because they're personally like horrific makeup products for me. Maybe I regret buying them for shade reasons or something like that. But yeah, that's all the reasons. Again, I hope you kind of understand the reasoning as to why I called this like makeup I regret buying and not the worst makeup, because yes, some of these products may be the worst product to me, but they might not be to other people. So I didn't want to just like blatantly label them like that. It doesn't make sense in my mind anymore. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense. Let me know your thoughts down below. What's a product that you really regret buying this year that you were just like, did not work out for me at all? I'd really be interested in hearing. And if you have made it this far into the video, you are an absolute legend. Thank you so, so much. I truly appreciate it. If you haven't already, pretty please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. It helps my channel out so much and I truly appreciate it. I hope you have the most amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye.